Before we dive in, we've got some new accessories from my Roblox UGC for you to check out. Dropping in the previous patch, the Hirohiko hair came with a few different colors, but now there's even more to mess around with. So in the future, there's gonna be more anime and manga accessories, so stay tuned. Follow me on Roblox and join the group to help out, and let's begin. What's up guys, it's Punchy, and today we got ourselves another Deepwoken weekly patch with a ton of new content to break down and test. So last week was a bit controversial with the release of the Elder Prime non-boss variant, which was dubious to say the least, but the players are back and hopefully they're here to stay. So this week they're cooking, and let's get into that. I'll do my best to break down everything I can, but as always, hop in game and experience things for yourself. Like and subscribe so we can hit 115k, and without further ado, let's get into it. Beginning with some overall system visual changes that will affect almost everyone, it's time for the new mantra hotbar UI. Before this update, every single mantra in the UI maintained that square shape like all the other items, but they had their very own special border, elemental gem color, finalized with a colorful elemental icon representing their attunement. So it was a bit cohesive with some flow and purpose, but now it's a bit different. In this update, the mantra UI has drastically changed, and honestly, I don't know if I'm a fan at all. Anyway, the shape of each icon has switched from a square shape to a rectangle, which stands out heavily next to the other items that don't share the same shape. I think UI needs to be comprehensive and uniform, and this shape update does not give me that whatsoever. Anyway, besides that, each mantra has its very own color scheme and direct mantra icon illustration, so you do know what's being used. Overall, each change here was intentional and was done for a certain reason, so take that as you will. Personally, I am not a fan of how this looks, but leave your own thoughts down below so the devs hear your opinion. Next up, with even more visual updates, THUNDERCALL finally got some support with their new mantra illustrations. Most of the attunements in-game already have their very own mantra icons that are being worked on, and now it's time for Thunder. All of these will show up when rolling mantras, viewing them at a campfire, and in your hotbar down below, and I absolutely love what was done here. I will admit there is a lot of lightning, and it looks a little bit similar, so it could be confusing, but hopefully it's going to be easier to understand the purpose of each THUNDERCALL mantra when you roll it. This is great, and we can expect a similar treatment for further attunements and mantras in the future. Again, with even more UI updates, there's been an addition to the selection cursors. Now when switching between unarmed and your weapon, you should see a sword icon that indicates that you are now in attack mode, which is interesting, and this also appears as a gear when something is being interacted with. So additionally, with some improvements to the indication system, there's more support for weapons and mantras. At the end of your weapon swing, the glint for the hitbox is way easier to see and stands out more than before. You can also right-click on your mantra icons to recall them fully, which speeds up the process for modification. Moving on to some armor, we've got a buff to a lot of the equipment stat pips, as well as the introduction of a new one. Releasing this patch came a new pip type called Anchor Pips. This legendary pip exists for leg equipment, and it grants a combination of HP, knockback resistance, and a small amount of posture. This is pretty exciting to see, and I think it's a positive buff for most builds. Forward with a weapon remodel, the worst looking weapon in the entire game just got saved with the SCIMITAR. Previously, this medium looked almost plastic and really simple, but now it's changed. With a sharper accented design, the SCIMITAR looks much cleaner and sleeker to use. So maybe in the future we'll get even more revamps to older weapons, and I'm excited to see that. Next up into the crazy new content, there's a few different options we can mess around with on our builds. For starters, the Parasol world boss finally has an enchant with the release of PARASOL'S BLIGHT. The PARASOL'S BLIGHT enchant transforms our weapon into a stone-like appearance with glowing purple energy, and it's pretty solid visually. But in combat, here's where it gets crazy. Exclusively against players, a successful grip with this weapon after being hit by the Parasol enchant will cause them to spawn a monster on death. This monster can attack other players and leaves the user immune to their aggro for a set duration, and it's exactly like the boss's spawning attack. This is a bit interesting, and it might be crazy in ganks if you can actually secure a grip. Next, with another secret enchant, we have the Void enchant. I think this is a very effective option for ganks and shutting down sustain, and it's definitely going to be viable in PvP combat. Its appearance is white and glowing, very similar to a mix of stone and obfuscation. It's simple and clean. Anyway, in combat, the M1 effect of the Void enchant will apply a partial anti-heal effect that reduces healing in all forms, and it will stack alongside other modifiers. But the best part about this enchant is how it instantly sends players into the depths on a successful grip, very similar to a void zone. So if you want to clear out a server, this is the way to do it.
So, moving on to another secret obtainable enchant, we got the Rain Armor enchant, and it's probably one of the most interesting things in the entire game. Just based on its cosmetic appearance, the Rain enchant spawns some raindrops on the item enchanted, and it's subtle and fairly basic. When hit while using the Rain enchant, you will instantly spawn a cloud of rain, similar to any other rain in the game. Rain effects, just like anywhere else, can nerf damage on flame charm moves and buff up Thundercall, and it can even spawn in places where rain isn't allowed. Now, to make it even crazier, we can actually synergize and choose what type of rain we want to spawn. If using the Chilling enchant on your build, the Rain enchant will spawn snow instead, buffing up your Frost Draw moves. Additionally, using the Stench enchant spawns Acid Rain, which shreds anybody, and that's just super cool to see. So, a dynamic enchant just like this is something that we've been missing for a long time, and I love it. Another item you can obtain is the AEGIS gem for your mantras, and it's pretty special. I don't think this gem is actually working, it's just voiding whenever we use it, so I'm not going to talk about this, it's entirely bugged at the moment. All of these previously mentioned items, the Parasol enchant, the Void enchant, the Rain enchant, and Aegis gems are exclusive items that can only be obtained from a new trial and a new trader. This new trader can be found in the depths in a special spot, but he has a few conditions to unlock his wares. To actually buy from this dude, you gotta go through a new depths trial with multiple different stages. The first enemy to fight is a lightning squibbo, nothing really insane, but it starts to get crazy with two new mobs, being the Prime Sharko and the Prime Owl. Up next, with a new Deepwoken monster, we got a crazy new variant of the classic Sharko. We all know how the OG Freshy Sharkos work, but this is the Prime Sharko. So this mob is a different color scheme, and it's intended for experienced endgame players, and maybe we'll see even more in the future, so that's exciting. Anyway, this Sharko has way more health and resistance with some more damage too, but it actually has different patterns and a diverse set of feintable moves. The basic swing attacks can work as normal, or they can continue longer to catch you off guard. He can teleport to grab the player and can get close with a couple different moves, but what's even crazier is his Sero Beam. With the Shadow Gun laser beam, that can do a ton of damage and actually proc Shadow, but this will snipe players and you'll have to adapt to his moveset to take him down. The Prime Megalodon is pretty cool and difficult to fight, and I'm excited to see more from the Prime moveset. Maybe in the future we'll see even more Prime variants of all our favorite monsters. Next up, with another special trial mob, we have the Prime Owl. This thing is cracked compared to the base owl, and it looks even crazier too, but let's talk about how to fight it. Its HP and damage are boosted compared to the base owl, which I do dislike, but you know, we gotta lock in. It has a bunch of new attacks that are worth talking about, and let's get into that. The new Shadow Swipe is an unblockable guard break that does shadow damage and can simply be dodged. The Shadow Step is a parryable, Sharko-like stomp that you cannot roll through, and that's about it. The Shadow Explosion is a guard break Shade Devour-like attack that you have to roll through, and it does insane damage, so be careful. And finally, the Shadow Charge attack buffs the owl's chip damage, making it bypass blocks for a set duration. This guy is kinda crazy to fight, but I think it's fair and also pretty interesting, besides the lazy addition of extra damage. After all that's said and done, you will now unlock the ability to trade for these items, but we're not done just yet. Each item you can buy has a very specific item to unlock it, and here's how it works. The Parasol boss drops a new item called the Parasol Part, which you must turn in to unlock the Parasol enchant. Similarly, the World Serpent also has an item that unlocks the Aegis gem, and that's how that works. Now, to obtain the other items, we have some very annoying quests that I genuinely cannot stand, and I do not like them. To obtain the Void enchant, you must turn in an insanely ridiculous amount of Void Spires to the NPC, and that is just crazy and time consuming. Additionally, the Rain enchant has very similar requirements and needs about the same amount to turn in for Rain Spires, and that's all you need to do to get it. Finally, with this trader, these items that you can obtain are slot locked, so you must complete the quest and the new trial every single time you want to get them, and you know, that is very time consuming, so keep that in mind. Up next, with a new item that we can obtain for Drift, we got the Sailor's Fleece. This item is a sweater that essentially works with any other outfit in the entire game, and I think it's very subtle and really nice to use. It's an early game equipment, so it should be easy to obtain, and I'm a big fan. There's also a dark version of this drip. Moving on to some brief balancing highlights, it's not everything being changed, but just the ones that I think shake up the most. When it comes to the chef weapons, nobody really used them, but now they got a buff and it might be breaking the meta. For starters, the Long Tongue of the Law's base damage has been boosted up drastically, and that's going to be interesting to see after damage multipliers and scaling gets involved. Additionally, the Flippers of Fate received a similar treatment with a boost as well, and the Pastry Paster did too. I don't know if we're actually going to see people whipping up in the kitchen after this
this patch, but I kinda hope they do. Next, with the balancing change to an enchant, we got a big nerf to the obfuscation enchant. This enchant used to be the GOAT, everyone was using it, but it previously lost a lot of its chip damage, and the transparency it used to have is kinda gone. Now, in the current update, it's a lot easier to see obfuscation weapons since the transparency was cut down quite a bit. I guess they really want to make this enchant about the speed boost, cause that's all it really has at the moment. Moving on to a VOIDHEART Voidwalker update, there's something new to prevent ganks inside the base. If you now initiate a fight inside of the VOIDHEART, you won't be attacked or anything else, but it will now teleport both of the players outside of the base, leaving a rift behind for others to follow. Fights will no longer be restricted to the VOIDHEART base, and I think that's pretty healthy for some diversity in ganking. And with that, this week's content comes to a close. As always, hop in game for weekly battle royale and check out all the new stuff too. Tell me what you think down below, and trust me, I'm always going to be telling the devs, so do that. Thanks once again to all the supporters who motivate me daily and directly help out this channel. If you want to join as a member, go down below, but besides that, my personal Discord, guild Discord, and my UGC group are linked, so check them out. Thanks once again, and make sure to like and subscribe. It's punchin' time.